Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant, episode number 86. The date is the 17th of June, 2024, and we have got a cracker in store for you. As always, though, I'm here with my co-host, Johann. Johann, how has your week been? It's been a bit of an eventful one, hasn't it?
Good morning. Yeah, busy week. Busy all over the UK. I had a couple of busy days up in Edinburgh. Went via the free agent office to meet some of their team, the client engager, and then down to London to do a spot of office hunting. So whilst just deciding to challenge myself in life by using just my iPad Pro instead of my laptop while I'm away. It was good. I enjoyed it. And then had a chilled weekend, basically. All good. All good this end. How is it going your side?
Yeah, very good, very good. We started the week off really nicely in Edinburgh, as you all well know, and had the chance to watch WWDC. So if we get a chance, we'll talk about that later. I went down to Accounting Council, and speaking of Accounting Council, hello to Kirsty, who was there, and everyone else who came along as well. It was a very good event, and we got one extra person who was at Accounting Council, but more on that person in a moment. As always, though, this show is brought to you by not only ourselves, but our wonderful community. So hello to Cheryl, hope you are doing well. Hello to Natasha, hope you are doing well. Hello to Paul, hope you're doing well. As Kirsty says, it's been a sunny Monday in March. Sunny Monday in March.
Where she lives.
Oh, that right. That is confusing. And Dave says good morning. So good morning to Dave. And as everyone else rolls in, hello, good morning to you too. Well, our big talking point of today, though, is going to be the fact that there was a little con going on, wasn't there? Yeah, exactly. Now, to bring the full element of what was happening, we thought, let's bring someone on board who's actually been to the event. Otherwise, we're just kind of going by.
It's not a fair representation.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about what was posted on the accounting web by Tom, or we can talk about that. Or let's get someone in person to come and talk about it. But before we do bring him on, let's just think about what our expectations would be, because this ZeroCon was never actually going to be a ZeroCon, was it, in London? This was a brought forward event. It was supposed to be their fellow year, if you like, if you're going to go big Glastonbury terms. And this was supposed to be the idea that they didn't have maybe enough to say, or that they wanted to spread it around the world, and they were going to have that. Was it every 3 years? It was going to be the UK, and it was going to go in other places. That's what the original plan was, right? But they brought it forward. So that must mean they have some amazing news to bring on.
They even stated in their financial results that the reason they didn't quite do what they wanted to do is because they didn't have a ZeroCon event in the UK.
Exactly.
So they think it's hit their sales. I'm calling BS on that one, but I don't think that's going to be the first time I'm going to call BS today, but let's carry on.
So they had this much anticipated event, and I think the Zero community definitely were buzzing for it, right? Because, yeah, they're going to want to enjoy it.
After all the price rises.
Price rises, yeah. How they, and for me, not only have they got a chance to tell us all these amazing new stuff, but they needed to change that messaging on Jax, right? Because Jax, for anyone who doesn't know, their AI tool, just Ask Zero, didn't get off to the best start when it came to messaging. It was very much it's there to replace the accountant as opposed to work with the accountant. So let's find out what happened at Countex at ZeroCon. And to do that, we have the person who was at the event themselves,
on the ground floor.
On the ground floor, QuickBooks Labs member as well. Simon, how are you, Simon? How nice of you to come and join us on this apparently sunny day in March, as I got wrong. Simon, first of all, how are you? How was your week? And tell us how the event was.
Yeah, it was a busy week last week. Lots of conferences, which is always the same. But it is sunny. I agree. It's a good start to Monday. How was the event? Where do you want to start? As someone who uses, I think there's, as always with any software, there's the guys that use just have the one solution. I think if you're a zero-only practice, you would have got the most out of the day, which is always the way. But from myself, who uses all software, not just Zero, QuickBooks, and we use everything, I would say it was a lot of style, not a lot of substance.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm all for a rave at 9 a.m. if it wasn't work related, but it was very, getting deafened by a DJ at 9 a.m. is not my ideal start to the day, but it is what it is.
And
Is that a sign that you're too old
location-wise,
for Zero? Are you outside of their demographic now?
Maybe I'm too old. Yeah, no.
location-wise, where was it?
So it's at Excel. And if your normal stop off for Excel, like Account X off the tube there, you have to walk all the way to the other end. So it's the far end of Excel, downstairs.
Downstairs?
Yeah, so they had a big auditorium where they had the keynotes. We'll touch on that in a minute. And then you went back up to the other floor and you had like the exhibition hall, or the getting ready hall, as I like to call it. But yeah, where do you want to start? That's the thing. So yeah, keynote, should we crack
keynote? Let's go with the keynote. What was announced?
So after the beatboxing,
I mean, that's what, like you said, that's where you want to start.
Yeah, there was a bit of beatboxing at the beginning. I'm not quite sure what that was about. Using AI, I'm thinking that was the standard start. So, get you used to AI for what was to come during the keynote.
So it's AI doing the beatboxing.
So it's a guy and some AI doing the beatboxing. So
okay,
and
interesting.
screens behind were reacting to what
we couldn't possibly try and give the message out using Jax that accountants and bookkeepers might be replaced, like this beatboxer would have been replaced by AI.
Anyway. So it was very, there was lots going on that morning, and unlike other sort of conferences where you have your main stage, there'd be one speaker, then there'd be a break, and then you might come back and have. There was none of that. It was first person on, then they walked off, and the next person walked on. So it started just after 10. I think we didn't leave the main auditorium until gone 12. By the time everyone had spoken.
So there's a few issues there. Like people's brains can only take in like 45 minutes of information at a time without
getting up and walking out. But if you were sat in certain points, I was probably 5 rows from the front. Like it looks really bad if you get up and walk out. But if you were further back, then you can.
I'd say there's some basic teaching, training, psychology that needs to be addressed there.
Yeah. I think it went on for too long. I would rather have had, this is all the news. Here's the intro from the CEO. Then, if you want to stay for the next bit, stay, because we're going to talk about what's new, or, we're going to talk about the app ecosystem, which we'll touch on in a minute. So let's dive into the new stuff. So our post CEO chat from, as always, we're welcoming everyone in. So what was new? So they split into three points: core accounting, payroll, and payments. So core accounting, what would you say? I'm going to put to you, Joe. What would you say is core accounting?
I mean, for them, they would have to be talking about their actual new fancy solution to their banking or something, or bringing in something that's going to make their actual core product better than it's ever been before. Right.
Fix for the year-end dates, fundamentals.
So that's what I would have thought as well. However, core accounting in their mind, or the updates they got for core accounting, were all to do with the accountant side of Xero.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough.
So things we've got there are enhancements to Xero tax. So they're going to be able to do, partnership tax returns. That's coming beta in July with the integration with Xero Practice Manager, which kind of makes sense. It's obviously building out Xero Practice Manager a little bit better. And the other one was something called Xero Insights, which if you've ever used Dex Precision and their Insights dashboard, it's like a lighter version of that.
So like the free agent practice dashboard, where you get some key information, key metrics, key transaction numbers for all of your clients in a central place before you deep dive into your client.
Yeah, but it's very high level. Like this is their turnover, this is their cost sales, very, very high level stuff, which if you're already on Dex Precision, you're getting that stuff and you have all the in-depth, breakdowns in the background. So it's almost like a Xero light, the Dex Precision light kind of thing.
With Xero's new prices, you can't afford Dex Precision as well. So you're going to have to get it from somewhere.
That was the interesting thing in that they've put and they talked about pricing and they said it's making it simpler for businesses to understand what's included, which I get. I understand that. If you're new to Xero, right, where do I sit? I'm this person. I need this, this, and this. And it's really easy to do that. I get that.
Yeah. Yep.
If you've already been using Xero for years, the new pricing to you might be like, well, I'm doubling, or my subscription's doubling. And the fact there is nothing, like there's no fixes, or there's no, nothing fundamental. We'll touch on one thing that is coming to the underlying product. There's nothing else in that to justify that.
So is Insights coming free of charge?
That's going to be part of Xero HQ, yeah.
Fine.
But do you have to, is it one of these where it's behind that kind of paywall where you have to have X amount of licenses?
We weren't told, but we were just showing it in Xero HQ. I'm assuming it's going to be there. A bit like you used to have Xero Explore, which used to be brilliant, and then they took that away. The Explore app where you could see, right, I want this app, how many people are using it? It was great. Then when like Silicon Valley went bust, we could log in and go, right, who's got Silicon Valley Bank? Click, all right, all these people.
Yeah,
it was great. And then they took it. No, something like that. The useful things, but apparently people weren't using it, so they just took it away. So it's bringing.
And when they were talking about the practice manager, because they've always had a light practice manager as well, haven't they? But are they talking about major enhancements to this? Are they building out, or is it just incremental little updates to it?
It's more like incremental little things. So like, right, when is their next VAT return due? When's their tax return due? That sort of thing. And obviously there's the workflow part in the background. So bringing in more of the work, zero tax part of it, bringing that like more front of screen, so to speak.
Okay.
So more integration. So rather than having like two separate, when they had like Workflow Max and all that sort of thing, you had like two separate products, and they weren't really. It's bringing that all together. So you have to switch between products basically, which is nice.
So it's more of a task manager solution than a practice management solution. Then is that what you'd say? Is it? But it's aimed at the smaller practices, right? Like they don't.
It's definitely aimed at smaller.
No, it's not. Because Xero Practice Manager, you've got to be a silver partner or above to get it for free.
Oh, that's true.
I've lived in a privileged world where I'm not had to worry about that.
I don't know if getting Xero Practice Manager gives you a privilege.
For us, we wouldn't use it for a firm of our size, we wouldn't use Xero Practice Manager anyway. But as you said, smaller practices. I mean, I don't know how many licenses you need to be silver. It didn't used to be that many, if I remember rightly.
So it should be obtainable.
Yeah, it's definitely obtainable. The fact that it's bringing those in. Say you've got a VAT return due. There's a payroll due, except we'll touch on payroll in a minute, but highlighting those sort of things as well at the front screen, that's a positive.
Okay, cool.
Right?
So that's
the switch out of there and come back.
So that was their core accounting, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what they put under core. Then they went into payroll. So there's a few new bits to payroll, like in the underlying. So you can have irregular working patterns. So it's good if you want to do things like that. The nicest bit I liked was actually the new setup screens. So whereas before you'd have to manually set everything up, they've now got an import, and I'm not seeing it in much detail, but you can just basically get an FPS file from your previous payroll system, import that in, and it will populate everyone's details, and you've got everyone in there from before, which I quite like. That's really good, especially if you're changing. Especially if we're changing payroll systems mid-tax year. That's probably a good thing. I mean, most of the time we try to avoid that just because HMRC have a meltdown. But yeah, that was really nice. I quite like that because having set up a few payrolls manually, you've got everyone's employee details and you've got to fill this in. Then you can't import some things, so you have to manually do it all. So that's quite nice. New custom leave policies. So, if you've got different leave things based on different people's start dates or calendar years, so that's quite nice to have that. And then they didn't call it Bureau Payroll, but it is Bureau Payroll. The ability to, in Xero HQ, there's going to be a new payroll button at the top. And if you click on there, it'll load up all your payrolls when the next one's due. So it's kind of like a Xero Payroll Bureau, or a dashboard, but the ability to then, coming down the line, to bulk run payroll. So the ones where like your monthly directors and they're the same every month. But
can you only use it? That Xero Bureau thing there, is that only for people that have got a Xero license? So I can't run a
it's not Bureau as such.
Yeah.
You have to have zero. You have to have payroll attached to your zero license.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't have it standalone.
Can't have it standalone. You'd have to take a zero license and put payroll to it. You can't have it standalone. So that's why they've not called it bureau. But for clients that are, if you've got 15 clients that are paid the same, the same monthly amounts, and you just want to go right, pay the whole lot, do all your bulk FPSs, all that sort of thing. That ability coming later down the line is quite interesting.
Free agents had for quite a while now.
Oh, it's something you used to be able to do on Sage 50 payroll 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You go, right, there's my bulk of monthly directors, right, tick the whole lot, go.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it was one of those little used things back then.
But if that's your only payroll software in your practice, that's actually quite a nice little update, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like that.
There's some nice bits around that. I think I was more appreciative of the payroll updates than, because I've got clients that use zero payroll themselves, little things like that, then anything to make their lives easier.
Nice.
And then there's two more things. One, payments. They call it payments. From both incoming and outgoing. So obviously they've announced their partnership with Cresco for payments going out.
That was last year, wasn't it?
That was last year. So obviously they're expanding on that a bit more. So you're going to be able to schedule payments in advance. So rather than having to do it there and then, which I know some of the other platforms, as we know, you have to do it there and then. But being able to schedule, which is a big thing for, I want to schedule this for the Thursday. I don't want to do it today, kind of thing. Especially if you're doing payment runs, that's always handy. You do it on Monday, ready for Thursday. So that's coming soon, and also international payments as well.
Nice.
So bringing it on par with other systems like like the Pouties and all those sort of things in the world.
I imagine Cresco are happy with that because that's where they make their money is international payments, isn't it?
Correct. That's where they make their money. Obviously, you pay per supplier, and obviously that comes back into those new zero pricing bundles in that you get X number of payments for free in your monthly fee, and then it's 20p a bill, 20p per bill, not 20p per supplier.
Ouch.
That's one thing to make it clear. So
it's 20p per bill when Cresco don't charge you if you use it outside of zero.
That's the interesting thing. And we use other apps. We're not. We're sponsored by someone else. You'll obviously go. You guys are sponsored by someone else. But yeah, it's 20p per bill, exclude plus VAT after a certain number. So I think Grow gets 5 bill payments. That's 5 bills, not 5 suppliers. So if you've got one supplier with 10 bills, you get 5 of them, and then the other 5 are going to cost you £1.
Again, the Grow is just there to have the lowest price point. It's not actually useful to anyone.
It's the lowest price point, but even on their new top plan, which is called Ultimate,
it's unlimited, surely.
You get 15.
No, 15.
15 bill payments a month.
1.5.
1.5.
Because
so
Ultimate.
In my mind, I would go and get, which is going to be £33, and then go and buy I shouldn't really share. You're sponsored by them. You go and get Apron for £25 a month or whatever it is, and have 50, and that's 50 suppliers, not 50 bills. So
wow,
it's So it's good they've got the and approvals and things like that in the system. I'm all for having everything in one place. Don't get me wrong. Like if you can get rid of some of the apps around it and have just one person logging in somewhere, I'm all for that because it's one less thing to train people on.
An amazing workflow because it just works.
Right? Workflow. You haven't got to worry about what's my login for that, or what happens if this breaks? Who do I go to?
Exactly.
That. But the pricing, I think they need to, especially on their top level one, which is going to be £60 a month. You'd expect more than 15 bill payments a month.
Bill payments, right?
Yeah.
So most of those that they're aiming at, but you're doing 15 a day, surely. It's.
Well, that was the interesting. There was a lot of. I didn't count how many times they said the word small and business. There was a big focus, and they said it a lot. Like small business, small business, small business, small business. It was very much
which can't afford us.
That was. I think that's they've decided, and it was said in their investor summary a few weeks or months ago. there was a slide in there, which everyone can go and watch, that said, this is our target market. And it was up to 20 employees. That's their, like from 0 to 20, that's their sweet spot. And I know we're jumping all over.
Shame 0 to 20 can't afford it.
Well, it's still affordable to a 0 to 20, isn't it? But like 20.
Yeah, it's still affordable compared to systems in the past. Not systems now, but from systems in the past, it's affordable if you're moving from like a Sage desktop or something like that. But that's comparing apples and pears. It's like they're completely different things.
So that confirms then they're not looking to have a SKU above their ultimate. They're not.
No, they're not. And they leaned into that and said, no, there was a part of the main stage rotunda of presenters that was all about the apps and how if Xero doesn't have it, there is an app for it. It's very much, this is our product. If you want something else, go to the app marketplace. And we'll touch on Jax in a minute. But one of the things that's going to be in product is a little thing that says these are the apps that are connected. These are ones we suggest based on what's going on in.
But you know why they're pushing the app marketplace, don't you?
It's
they monetized it, the subs.
Correct. They've appled it.
Which actually, in fairness to them, then that gives them a reason to push those partnerships, right? And push them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know you can just go in the top right, and it is live already. I saw it the other day on some of my live that you can see that, because rather than before where you had to go into settings and then connected apps and then it's 3 clicks to get somewhere. Just having it there in the top right, and it's I think it's the same on QuickBooks actually. You've got the top right little thing that shows you connect. In fact, it's identical.
My only concern is I don't trust Xero and their ethics at all when it comes to pricing. So how much has a software paid for the privilege of being recommended on that new little tool? So are we being recommended a tool because it's the right tool for our client? Or are we being recommended a tool because that's the one Xero are going to get a bit more money from?
I think it comes down to, and we'll touch on it, what you ask Jax.
Right. Okay.
And then that's when it will start going, oh, we think you should have this.
Because Xero's going to get a paycheck.
But let's just finish off on payments first before we get into Jax, because then we can come to Jax, which might cover the whole thing. The big thing about payments, obviously, there's the advancements to Cresco, etc., was tap to pay. So on your sales, it's a great idea. So you raise the sales invoice. You might be a plumber. You've raised your sales invoice. Pay me now. Tap on my phone. Powered by Stripe. Great. With things like there's going to be buy now, pay later coming soon to it, credit card payment, bank transfers as well, and a digital wallet on it. Interestingly, it's beta in August, but Android only, which but I'm guessing that's because Apple have changed the way apps get pushed to their store or their security settings or something like that. So that's interesting that it's Android first.
Apple do have standards in privacy, which Xero probably don't.
But also, we don't know what the pricing is for that. So there must be some price to it for Stripe to
100%. Yeah.
It's going to be, I imagine it'd be along the similar sort of lines of the pay bills, but up to a certain amount, or you're paying a percentage of your sales.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So I love the idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it would get rid of people who might have a SumUp card reader or a Zettel card reader they carry around with them.
Yeah.
And having that all in product, and being able to just mark those invoices as paid straight away, and, all that sort of stuff.
I suppose it's kind of what we were hoping, or we've seen in the US with QuickBooks Bank. You can pay if you've got a QuickBooks Bank and your customer's got a QuickBooks Bank in America, they can just tap pay on the invoice, and that's it. It goes straight over.
Correct.
So yeah, okay.
So yeah, nice. I'd like to see how much.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be with everything with Xero. It's going to be down to what the pricing is, isn't it?
And also, how many do you get? I think this is the thing. It's very good for. It might be brilliant, and this is maybe where the Cresco pricing is where it is, because that's the target they're at. In that, it's that small business right there. You do, a plumber. How many working days in a month? 20. Right, they're only going to do 20 sales a month.
I'd have said 60 odd. If they went and did free services as a plumber.
Exactly. Yeah. Or 20 big jobs or whatever it might be.
I'd
yeah,
argue Zero is completely overkill and too expensive for a plumber. But that tap and go use case is definitely
aimed at that.
It's targeting plumbers and electricians and
I wouldn't,
stuff.
if I was a coffee shop, I think if I was a coffee shop using Zero, I'd probably stick with having some sort of system to just.
Oh, it takes them long enough to brew the coffee. Never mind type out an invoice.
Yeah, it's not for high volume, low value.
No.
It's for those. That's how I saw it anyway. They didn't go into too much detail. It was just a case of
consultants and stuff like that. They're going to love it, right? Like that's
exactly.
Going to be amazing.
And then we finally got to Jax, which when did we talk about it last? When was QuickBooks get connected? Was that February time? And we had a week of AI. It went mad for a week. QuickBooks did theirs and Sage did theirs. And don't get me wrong, Sage's is brilliant. Like Copilot is really, really good. And
I'm really impressed with what I've seen there.
Yeah, and it's across all of their, it's going across all of their platforms. And then obviously Zero then announced theirs as well. It was like, right, who's going to be next? Where's free agent and et cetera, et cetera. The jokes got quite funny after that. So yeah, we saw Jax in action. So they showed it as both, and you talked about it a minute ago. Is it going to kill the accountant, or is it for the accountant and for the end user? It's for both, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
I don't think the example used on stage was the greatest example of how it could be used. So they split into two sections of here's my advisor, right? I open up Jax, and the question they asked was who owes me money? Except the pop-up window for Jax was over. If you've got a Zero dashboard, the top right tile is this is who owes you money, and the pop-up was over that. And by the time it replied, you could have clicked on who owes you money and got the list straight away. So it was a bit unfortunate they chose that, and for people who know the product, it was a bit unfortunate they chose that option. Like if it said, "Can you go off and run me a P&L by this customer," or that sort of thing, that would have been, in my opinion, would have been a better example of Jax being Jax. Not here's a list of who owes me money. All right, how long have they owed me money for? Which is what they did. Oh, this person has regularly paid you 60 days. That was good. Right, this person always pays you late. And then what they did was then said, right, add £50 to their last invoice for a late payment fee. And my accountant hat went on and went, technically, you shouldn't be doing that.
Technically, that's a new invoice.
Technically, that's a new invoice. And because that other invoice has probably had VAT on it and has been gone on a VAT return. But it depends what size business you are, obviously. But yeah, you shouldn't just be adding 50 quid onto your old invoice. No. So for my accountant hat went, you shouldn't do that. I mean, because most people lock down the dates, wouldn't they, as well? You do log dates, and so you can't back post stuff. Whether that would overwrite that, and you'd hope not. And go, no, you can't do that. But you never know. So that was their side from the accountant. And yeah, the ability to ask it, right, what are people's payment profiles like, and all that sort of thing. That's great for someone doing credit control. You might be doing all the outsourcing for a client. Right, I'm going to chase these people. Right, what are these people? They're always late. Right, why are these people always late? Asking it questions like that was better than who owes me money. But I could see why they started from there. It's just unfortunate that the answer was behind the pop-up screen that was taking ages to load.
That's unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate. But then they moved on to the other side as the business owner.
Okay.
So, yeah, they used an example. I can't remember what the example was. Some sort of event. It was like a sort of a trade business, and I think it was interior design or something like that. And there was a big email trail backwards and forwards between them and the customer, detailing out what they're doing. And then they just went, "Can you create an invoice with me?"
Okay. And so it's not just in Zero then?
It's not just in Zero. It's in WhatsApp. It's in email. It's everywhere that you can have it. You could probably have it.
Wow.
So it did it from an email, went off and raised an invoice.
Nice.
Which was great. And they also did a WhatsApp one where they were talking. It was like, I think their example was, it was Sunday. A client WhatsApped me and said, "Yeah, we'd like to go ahead with that." And she just WhatsApped Jax and went, "Can you raise a quote for this?" And it went away, came back and said, "Here's your quote."
Okay.
Great if you don't want to go into Zero and do it all for you. Just go, can you raise a quote for this on my phone?
Yeah. And on a Sunday, that's like the perfect scenario, right? Like
exactly.
you don't want to push away
out and someone said it. Can you just forward it? That use case, brilliant.
Yeah, and that's not replacing the accountant. That is, that is just helping.
I think the end user role for it is, as in people who aren't trained, like bookkeeping trained, or that is where I see it working more.
Yeah.
Even though it's not going to follow the rules and it's going to edit an invoice that's already been sent.
But clients, if they're not trained, would do that anyway, right?
Yeah, true.
Doesn't mean that's the level we should be judging Jack's.
That's not the level we should be at,
doing better in class.
Yeah. But as a starting point, those sort of things, really good. But yeah, I think the advisory side of it needs a bit more work.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's the way they're pushing it to more accountants, is bringing that advice. And there was a lot of talk. We said about what the other talks like that. There was one around advisory, and we've talked about this for the last 10 years. But there was very much how Jax can help you source that information to give better advice. Fair play. And it's asking it the right questions.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they've changed that messaging around and they're going to keep doing that because that's fine. Did they tell us, is it their own language model? Are they leaning off someone else? Did they go into that?
They didn't tell us that.
Okay.
They did say it's going to be in August, so not far away.
Okay.
And do we have a price?
No. I'm just assuming it's going to be across the whole platform, but that might be my wrong assumption.
Okay.
You met Zero before?
Yeah, sure. I've met Zero before, but that might be why their prices have changed anyway to account for Jax.
Because it's September, those price rises, isn't it?
It's always September, yeah.
Yeah, so that falls in line, right? That in August release.
The random date of 12, which is their billing period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair play to them. Go out in August.
It's
because
the fact it's ahead.
Well, this is I've been warning QuickBooks for nearly a year now. So QuickBooks announced Intuit Assist last autumn.
There's been nothing since.
Nothing has happened since.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a rant about companies that are doing that and then delivering nothing compared to companies that are not talking about it and then just deliver. So Sage literally went on about it and delivered it that week in a beta.
Yeah.
SIP Analytics didn't mention anything about their AI tool, turned it on and then started shouting about it.
Yep.
Whereas
Zero, they announced it. I know it was at the back of everyone else's AI announcements, but they announced it and they've done something with it.
And now QuickBooks, who made the first announcement, are going to be the last to market.
Exactly.
And it's ridiculous.
No, I totally agree with you. I suspect, and actually we don't know, but we didn't talk about it. We haven't talked about it for a while. We don't know when QuickBooks Assist is going to be live or in beta or.
Well, it's going to be US first. That's the issue, isn't it? US will have it, and then we will.
US has got it. I think the US got it already.
Yeah, they've got it in beta, and we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to the UK shores, unfortunately.
Now, I know Aaron's defense for QuickBooks here is going to be, it'll be like Apple. Apple didn't do Apple AI straight away.
Yeah.
But from what we saw last week's announcement, it's going to be the best in class. Aaron, I challenge you to that with general ledgers. 7 years we waited for that, and what a load of garbage that was when it turned up. I've got zero confidence we're going to see anything from QuickBooks this year for AI. And when it does come out, is it going to be usable?
I think that's what we've got to wait and see, haven't we? I think, yes, obviously said Sage are beating everyone to the punch.
Yep.
And doing
a
bloody good
and made it. And they said it's Microsoft's, it's Copilot, let's just call it that and get on with it. And it's great. And then, like I said, Zero announced it and actually done something with it. That's good. I praise them for that.
Is it fair to say that? I mean, tinfoil hat though, but is it fair to say that Intuit have said from day one they're building it from scratch? Is it fair to say the others aren't built from scratch? If they can turn it around that quick.
Sage turned around in that interview with me and said they've been working on it for years. It's all built from in-house. We've called it Copilot, but that's like calling it's Sage AI. AI is the common terminology. Copilot is the common terminology. Like, it's not like, in theory, Sage have got a close working relationship with Microsoft. So in theory, there could be deeper integrations into the future, but it is their own intelligence. Now, what worries me about Zero is they've not been public about what's powering that, whose large language model is it.
That's all they've said. Zero's new Gen AI powered smart business companion.
Yeah, like, that's what concerns me, is who's powering that. So when Apple turn around and say, yeah, we're going to send your data to ChatGPT, which they said last week. So if Apple can't do it on device, they'll put it into their own servers. If that can't do it, it will ask you if you want it to go to ChatGPT. But Apple have got the power to turn around to ChatGPT and say, yeah, we'll link up with you, but it's going to be for free, and you're scrubbing all of our data as soon as it's finished that request. Zero have not got that power with anybody.
No.
They can't wield their weight and go, if you want to link to Zero's Jacks and power Zero Jacks, you've got to follow these rules. And as accountants and bookkeepers, we need to, like, it's one thing an architect or a graphics designer or someone doing something on using an unrestricted language model like ChatGPT to do projects, because how confidential is the thickness of a wall or the height of something or some, we're dealing with sensitive financial information. So we need to have confidence that if we're putting data through something, that is going to be safe.
Yeah.
So Zero need to be transparent with this from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I just quickly looked at their responsibility commitments. There's nothing in there about where it is going. It just says we're committed to keeping data secure, protecting your privacy at all times.
They need to be more transparent than that.
100%.
So a bit like to know, and we expect our trusted partners to approach responsible data use the way we do.
You expect that? No.
So then, obviously there is a partner somewhere behind that, isn't there?
Yeah. That's
like Apple, which they expect will behave appropriately. Whereas Apple's like, we don't have expectations, we have demands, and you will do this, or you will not get the contract. Exactly. And I can imagine that's probably why we've not seen the Gemini integration into Apple, which was rumored well before OpenAI and ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because Google want the data. That's where they're making their money.
Yeah.
But it's ChatGPT have gone, okay, we'll scrub it because we want household adoption.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So I mean, that was the main 3 hours of what I say. The first morning. So roving things. And eventually got to Sam Conniff, who's a doctor of I can't remember what he's a doctor of, but his talk was really interesting about uncertainty in the work, dealing with uncertainty. He was probably the most interesting thing of the whole morning, because you actually learned something about it. And he had a session day 2, and if I'd gone back day 2, it would have been to have his do the second part of his session.
Hold on, you spent £400 on a ticket, in theory, and you didn't find enough value to justify day 2.
They said there was 2,500 people there when we got there, and I think there probably was at the beginning. There definitely wasn't 2,500 people there in the afternoon.
Really?
Wow!
It just looked quiet. You guys have been to a Caltex. Look, like Caltex looked, and digital accounting show looked busy. It just looked busier.
Yeah.
Like, that's not to say it was busier, but it just wasn't. Yeah, they just didn't look like there was 2,500 people there in the afternoon. Yeah, and
I did a Zero roadshow a couple of years ago now, pre-COVID, and in Edinburgh. So it was 10 minutes down the road on the bus. So I did it. I gave up after half an hour. I couldn't continue to be sold 000. And then I looked at the agenda and saw no value sessions whatsoever. It was all Zero this, and use Zero that, and use Zero this. So, and I wasn't the only one to walk out by the end of the first session and not go back.
They had little theatres dotted around, like what I would call the exhibitors hall. But most of the exhibitors hall was dedicated to, there was a 5-a-side indoor football pitch with some football skills people.
Okay.
Oh, that'll be their Women's England sponsorship deal there being promoted.
And then there was a massive area dedicated to getting ready for the evening. So like massages, doing your hair, doing your nails, etc., etc. And I think that's where there's a lot of focus on we're coming to here to have fun.
Yeah.
And you paid £400 for the privilege.
I mean, £400 was that's plus that is steep, isn't it? For a day out.
Basically, a free bar is what you get out of it, right?
Basically, yeah. And then, like I said, the other talks, they had like app partner demos. Well, most of the people there are probably already using apps in some way, shape, or form. And then there was, I said before, like there was one like around, do we need to do rebranding? So that's more like marketing sort of thing. They had Jason Bradbury there in the afternoon talking about AI and its impact. But again, that was only half an hour. Really good to have done with being a bit longer. Then there's things like, has hourly billing had its day? Well, I remember Mark Witcham talking about that at Countex 10, 15 years ago. Then more app demos. Sorry?
Nice modern topics.
And mastering an app stack, etc., etc. Because I think that's where the focus is now. It's like, this is our core. These are all our apps. It's time to start building an app stack. And that was one of the things on the main stage when they talked about, one of the guys from Xero came on and went, this is what this practice has done, and here's all their apps around Xero, so they can run their whole practice on Xero.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's definitely more focus on that. In that, this is Xero. This is what we're going to do. If you want something else, go to the app.
And was Xero Go mentioned at all? Did they go to no? So it's not like there's something coming to replace that. So they're laser focused. This is what they're going to be looking at going forward. It's this type of client, and build it back there.
Yeah.
So Simon, zero value?
I wouldn't say it was a con. I would say that.
Convention. You're very cynical, Simon. If you think it was a con,
no.
Was there zero value?
There was minimal value for me personally. Maybe I think if you were either new to Xero or I think if you were new to Xero, it's a bit like most of these things. If you're new to a product, then you probably would have got most out of the day. People that I spoke to there who are seasoned Xero people and use other systems, and even some of the app, people that I've known for years, was very much of didn't really get much from the Xero announcements for the day. And that's what and especially as you said, this one wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a fallow year or whatever you said earlier.
Exactly.
You'd expect something big.
That's the expectation, right?
And
I'd say the biggest thing they announced was the fact that they're going to beat QuickBooks to the punch with AI going into beta in August.
I think that's their big thing. Like, it's going to work. Unfortunately, the demo was the wrong thing to demo, and I think that let them down a little bit. Yeah. From an accountant perspective, like starting with that was probably, and it wasn't the fastest in the world, but that might have just been due to Excel's rubbish Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and it's going to get better over time, right?
I still think we're going to get caught out with this, like all Xero users will. I still think Jax will be behind their imaginary paywall of you've got to be a silver partner or a gold partner to get access to it for free, or you pay, or you're going to get a restriction on the number of requests or something.
I think because it's not mentioned. So in the new pricing, Jax is not meant as in on their new table of pricing. There's no mention of Jax anywhere.
It's like all the government, all the political parties' manifestos at the moment. The focus is on what's not mentioned.
Yeah,
like parties are committing to not increase personal tax. Very few have made any commitments about corporation tax, which means actually business owners are now nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's what's not mentioned that worries me in Xero's coverage.
But they've got to keep it positive, right? Like they've had negativity beforehand because of the price rises. This was all about positivity, wasn't it? If someone's paying £400 a ticket, what they don't want to do is walk away going, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to use Jax going forward, right? That's going to have to be.
No, they just walked away saying there was no value.
There was some value. It wasn't like you're spending 400 quid, you got nothing out of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's overpriced, but because of you've got Excel isn't cheap.
No, and the
party is in the
after party definitely didn't sound cheap. So
no, so that's what I think if you're all in and you're going to do the pie and everything like that, then you maybe got your money's worth.
Yeah,
but for me, I think it was a bit.
For all those people that left for the afternoon.
Oh, I wonder if they left because they had to go and get ready for
this
the
party.
evening.
Yeah.
Because there is a break between the day and the evening.
And it from a value
proposition, the party was moved forward as well. So it used to be on the last day. So you had your
really?
And then you had your party. Whereas this time it was on the first night.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the Thursday morning was like.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it makes sense, right, having it then, because that's when most people are going to be there.
Yeah, and people have done the night before. There's pre-con things going on as well, different apps and things like that. Yeah. But I don't know what the Thursday would have. I imagine the Thursday morning was very quiet.
You're not going to get the beatbox at the beginning for the sore heads. That's definitely.
I think there was a few sore heads that morning. Yeah.
But while we're talking about value, we ought to mention our sponsors, Apron, who offer phenomenal value. So I'll leave that to you, Aaron.
Segue there. Simon, are you joining us for the last 15 minutes, or do you have to shoot?
I can join you for the last 15 minutes. No worries.
Amazing. Cool. Well, as Johann just said, let's quickly jump into our ad roll by the wonderful Apron.
I'm here with my friends over at Apron, our new sponsor, and we've got an amazing feature that just went live. It's called Capture, and this is going to revolutionize the way you get data from your client. Watch this. Get the receipt, take the photo, bish, bash, done. That's it. This is going to be dead quick, dead straightforward, dead simple, and more importantly, it's easy for your clients to use. Did I tell you got WhatsApp as well? What more do you want?
So Apron got to WhatsApp before Jax did. That's what we like to see for our friends over at Apron. Thank you, Apron. Thank you for supporting our show. And if you want to know more, then don't forget to head over to their website or just ask us in the comments section and we can give you some more information about the world of Apron. Right, let's talk about some other stuff in the world, including there's been an extension to the Accounting Excellence Awards. Remember Accounting Excellence Awards on October the 8th at Camden Roundhouse. It's going to be 600 of the professionals' finest, a chance to network with the best accountants, thought leaders around, and disco ball until 1 a.m. Very much like a Xerocon by the sounds of it. Award-winning food and a AAA comedian as host. Completely free to enter, unlike some award programs out there. Completely independent judging. Experts from the key organisation associations you know and trust. Getting shortlisted is a great recognition of the talent, motivation for your team, and it generally turns into new business. So many of our finalists report that they started conversation because of the noise around accounting excellence. And it's been extended. When's it been extended to, Johann?
You now have got until the 28th of June. So that's if you've not applied yet and put your nominations forward, you can do that now.
Nice.
Or if you've already applied, you can improve your application. So if by listening to what we've been saying or looking at some of the examples on the website, you go, or because it's always that case, isn't it? You submit something, you go, I really wish I'd said this on that, or I've missed that point out or something. Like you can now go and sort that out.
Nice. And I know as well, one improvement you can make is by saying who was it that kind of pushed you to make that application, which you can put as the accountant as one of those. So if you're out there looking for an improvement to make, that could be a way of sneaking your way up that. I mean, it's very impartial, aren't they, the judges? But I'm sure
they won't care who put them forwards.
Sure, that's the account will give you some sway. So yeah, make sure you make the most of that application. Go for it. And this year it makes sense, right? That there's one. We've got what is it? The new thing coming through, the election, everything else. So it makes sense to have that extra time to go out there. So if you're still looking to make it, it's well worthwhile. Get it done. And use that extension accordingly. So we're looking forward to the Accounting Excellence Awards on October the 8th. So it'll be an exciting time all round. So make sure you get it in. Right. Speaking of awards, there's been some big awards going on in the world of accountancy as well, which includes the AEO Awards, which I didn't know was a thing, but yeah, is a thing. But the reason we want to talk about it is because one of our friends, Caroline Hobden, they went and won an amazing award for Association of Event Organizers for Accountex Summit Manchester. Ooh, so that's got to be it. That's good. I mean, we were there. Great event. Fantastic. They've been seen from there. And it was the best trade show under 2,000 square meter. So yeah, that, I mean, they must have had some really big people against them, going against them for that one. They said it was the Oscars of the event.
That's the event world. Yeah.
Fair play to them. So well done to Caroline. Well done to that team. And they well deserve it. Like that's such a unique event, isn't it? It's intimate. It's still got that buzz about Accountex. So well deserved.
I think it's really interesting and exciting that. So I'm sure Fab brought for some awards at an event, as well as Accountex and Accountex London. But the fact that accounting conferences, let's face it, 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, were seen as rather dull and boring.
Yeah.
The fact that those events are now award-winning in national awards for events that span all the industries in the UK, I think that just shows how exciting our industry is starting to get now, and how industry leading our events are compared to other events and other industries. So it's a great representation of the industry that these events are out becoming award winners and or award nominees or shortlists, whatever they are. Like, I think it really it's something the industry and its members should be very proud of.
So based on what you know, Simon, do you expect Xero to win the award next year?
No.
Okay, moving on.
Just scrolling down their list. Yeah, there was quick scan. There was 3 accounting. Both Accountexes were on there.
Yep.
And AIT.
Oh wow.
Alternative was on there as well. So yeah, it's nice to see them in there. I don't know what AIT were up for. And obviously Accountex Spain was on there as well for international show. So those. Yeah, alternative. Yeah, so they were best UK conference, alternative events. The accountancy one was up there for best overall UK conference. So
wow,
yeah, and it's up against some interesting other conferences that
probably can't speak about it this time in the morning.
Modernising Criminal Justice Conference.
That's not what I expected it to go, but yeah, fair play.
But yeah, it's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Especially after this year's account. I thought I've been going to Accountex for a long time.
Yeah.
And I thought this year's was one of the best ones I've been to.
Yeah, it was special, wasn't it? I mean, every aspect of it was bigger and better than we've had before, wasn't it? So they keep going that trajectory. Wow. Yeah, so fantastic. And again, the Manchester one just has a special place in our heart. I feel like it's that perfect blend of just being intimate, but at the same time, so much you get out of it. There was other awards as well. The Drum Awards, never heard of this one either. But accounting thing, and something me and Johann was involved in, was the fact that the Heroes Behind the Heroes Award got bronze at the Drum Award for their whole marketing strategy that they've gone through. So the whole idea of having the accountants are the heroes behind the heroes, how all that went away and went there. And me and Johann, we were in the prefaces of giving some advice on that at the very beginning, weren't we? So
I mean, if they'd listened, they might have got silver.
But it's great to see that they got there as well, and got rewarded for it. So again, the accounting industry is starting to make a bit of a push for it, which we love to see. So that was a rundown of the awards. WWDC, have we got time? Yeah, should we just quickly go through it, or should we save it to another day? But WWDC, yeah, go on then. WWDC was a fantastic event on Monday, telling you what to look forward to in the world of Apple. I did a quick video afterwards that will go live soon on basically what small businesses should be looking for and going for in terms of what they should be getting out of it. Because unlike previous year where WWDC just feels like it's, oh, we're going to add this, or we're going to add that, and there's this fancy. This one just seemed to have a lot of opportunities to help us run small businesses and run businesses in total, and that's what was great to see. Some of the highlights for me was the AI element of it, which I'm sure Jon can talk about a little bit more in a moment. But what I really liked as a trainer was the ability for you to be able to bring your phone up on screen, basically mirroring it, and then as it phone's up on screen, you can actually interact with it with your mouse and keyboard. So I'm like training people to use apps and everything else. Just that idea of quickly being able to bring that up. I think you do the same with Microsoft these days, right?
That'd be
So
great.
much
It
easier.
log into Zoom on your phone as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or teaching one of your clients how to use Zero Go app on their Oh, hang on. No, never mind. Carry on.
Or the QuickBooks app. It doesn't never work either. Yeah. But no, those sort of things. Yeah, that makes that so much easier. I know it's Apple to Apple, which is
you have to be in the ecosystem to win. But Microsoft got a similar thing, right?
Sorry,
sure. Microsoft and Android have got a similar program that
but Apple to Microsoft, that'd be the dream, wouldn't it? Because most people work-wise are probably on Microsoft, and then probably have an iPhone.
True.
Within reason. But yeah, making that easier is so much, especially for training. Like I know my team, when they do in the training, they have 2 Zoom logins, one for the phone and one for the actual training.
And that's a fine workaround, but there's always times where it doesn't work, or the connection's a bit slow, or there's problems, isn't there, when you do it that way? Whereas
having one screen, isn't it? As well.
Exactly, yeah. You share that one screen, off to the races. And also for content as well, if you're having to do like LinkedIn post or Instagram post or anything like that, one of the cool features was literally just grab whatever, content you've got, put it straight in there and it'll just interact. I really like that feature. I thought it was good. What did you think, Jan, to the AI side of things? Because I know you were really excited for it, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, Apple Intelligence, I think once it comes in, is going to be fantastic. It's embedded at such a level that actually, because my biggest issue with any intelligence stuff at the moment is building the routines and the habits to use it, because it's all separate. So yes, I could use a really cool email app that's going to cost me money, but I've still got to get into the routine of plugging everything in. Like Grammarly is brilliant, but you've got to make sure it's installed everywhere and you're using the right Grammarly keyboard on your iPhone or something. Or
it's a copy and paste exercise, isn't it?
Yeah,
not great for workflow.
So the fact that it's all baked into the hardcore product is fantastic. It's going to be great. I've got the iOS developer beta on my devices at the moment because we're just testing things for the Client Engager app. So far, so good. Nothing's broken. But it has meant that I've got access to even simple things like reminders now showing up in my calendar. And that AI-powered handwriting correction tool in their Notes app, phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic. And so I like to scribble my notes down with my Apple Pencil. It then neatens it up for me. But on top of that, it then spell checks those handwritten notes. And then when I correct it corrects it with my own handwriting. So I go, yeah, I meant to spell apple with an E. And it puts an E in because it knows what my handwriting is like for an E. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it so far. It's a really cool bit of kit. The real power is when Apple Intelligence goes live. We don't know yet. I heard rumors yesterday that it might be in July that Apple Intelligence starts rolling out to developers.
Okay.
But I do have some interesting thoughts on it. Like, in theory, your client, if they're using Client Engager, as for example, in the Portal app, could say to Apple, hey, you know who, bring up my last set of accounts. Because then you know who would go through the emails, it would go through your files, and it would go through your apps, including your Client Engager app, to find that last set of accounts as a business owner. Or, hey, you know who, bring up my last 3 sets of accounts so I can apply for a mortgage.
Yeah. What's my UTR number?
Exactly. Now, what we need to do, what we're looking at, what we need to work out is what tools we need to plug into our Apple from a developer's end to work that out. That's not overly clear at the moment. But yeah, like in theory, this has got some really interesting and powerful insights for us without doing a screen recording every 30 seconds, storing it in a public folder for someone to hack into, like Microsoft have just decided they're going to do.
Yeah, it was very privacy focused, isn't it? Which, when you look at these sort of idea, and some of the stuff they said, it was like an email came in saying, "Oh, can we push this meeting back by 30 minutes?" And the concept was, it then went through the rest of the calendar, looked at how long it would take to get to A to B, looked at all this sort of stuff, and basically came back with a "yes, we can" or "no, I can't" sort of idea. I mean, that's from a small business again point of view, that's going to be game changing, right? The idea that we can have that there.
I think this year has been with particular. So there's a new terminology that I've never heard before until this year. It's called Sherlocking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
When a big provider does something, that basically shuts down a whole industry. So Apple has Sherlocked a lot of things this year. Grammarly, no need for that anymore. It's gone. It's built into Apple Intelligence.
You deleted it during the event.
Literally uninstalled it while the event was on. ChatGPT, well, actually, you don't need that, and you don't need to pay for that because Apple's AI will feed into it if you ask it to. That's gone. LastPass, any password protection apps, gone because we've now got passwords.
Yeah.
Authentication apps, well, technically they could have been gone a while now, but it wasn't a pretty and easy to use system. It's now gone. Like, so already I've got 4 less apps, 4 less subscriptions. Apple Notes, it's better than it has ever been because of that handwriting tool, right? That's Good Notes or Notability gone. It's going to do a lot of damage to a lot of softwares.
Yeah. And they mentioned about the AI models getting the opportunity to add in new ones. Is there a world where Intuit, Sage Copilot, Jax, can they get
agree to Apple's terms of not storing data? Then yes. Because
that whole idea what Simon was saying about from Jax you can get through to your WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff. In theory, that sounds amazing, but I imagine that's going to be a bit of a headache to kind of maintain, set up, and everything else. But if it was OS level, if it was on the system, doesn't matter what app you're using to communicate at that point, right? You're going to have access to it, go through there, and as long as it's secure, which Apple is pushing for, then that's the.
Well, the fact that the 0 one is using WhatsApp, and WhatsApp are very much about security as well.
True.
Are they?
Well, better than some, but I mean, it's Facebook, so probably not.
I definitely WhatsApped my wife the other day saying we're going to need to replace so and so in the house at some point, and Amazon suddenly advertising so and so to me. Like, I'm not convinced.
But talking of probably Apple, did you see the finance kit? That's the other interesting one. Opening up, Apple Cash and interacting with orders and things like that. That whole small business thing. If people start using Finance Kit as well, that opens up. I was thinking you're now sat on the other side of the fence, Johann. If someone does an order and they do it through Apple or does a quote whatever, and you use Finance Kit and they're paying straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that accountants and bookkeepers should be ecstatic about is the Apple new calculator. Is it Maths Note?
Yeah.
Did they call it? That's phenomenal. Like, I've not managed to make mine look as pretty as the table tennis example given on WWDC, but being able to just I was literally typing out. So a client engager user asked a question on the Facebook group, and I was typing my response, and it was an equation, and it was literally as soon as I put equals, it suggested the answer. And that's just me typing it in as an example on a message.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a while back, but you remember the days when the iPad never even come with a calculator.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Like,
my doesn't have one.
Right. So if you're say you're out doing a quote as an architect or a builder or something. So you're a builder. You're writing. You're writing out, right, that wall's this long, that wall's, and it's this high, and it's that deep, and so it comes up with it will come up with a cubic meterage, so how many bloody bricks you need to order or something.
And then it probably so then you take the AI into, if you can get storefronts, right, how many of these do I need to order? And it just start populating your prefix order and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that whole idea about using AI to go and get a quote out. Well, you've just done your calculations, everything's done. So and so, can you go off and grab me a quote for that work?
Yeah.
What we haven't mentioned yet, and I know we're running out of time, is AI has reached the most important app in the world. AI is now in Just Eat. So you can tell Just Eat, can you reorder this order from McDonald's, please? And it will place that order for you.
You say it's the most important app in the world. It's the only one I don't have.
But it's now
is that your area, though?
It is in my area.
I've never seen AI put into something that really does not matter.
No.
It's Just Eat.
Yeah, it reminds me of the days when it used to be on Microsoft, the Xbox, where the Domino's app was there, and you could ask the Xbox at the time, can you order me a so-and-so and so-and-so? But yeah, amazing. All right, before we go then, just quickly, Paul says, does the bills restriction also affect spend money transactions in Xero? I assume it's all going to be based around the same, is it not?
I think that's a spend money transaction is, you're manually putting in, I'm spent this money. It's not a physically paying it. You're not using Cresco to pay it.
Oh, okay. So it's only when you physically use Cresco to go through. That makes sense. Kirsty says, yay for Android. Maybe the only one shouting for Android, but that's fine. We'll you can't all be perfect, hey Kirsty. Paul says, I'd rather have less apps to run my practice. I think that's becoming a bit of a app fatigue for everyone at the moment, isn't it?
I think, that seems to be this year's buzzword thing. I think app fatigue.
Yeah, Xero will catch up to that in 5-10 years. They'll realise that people don't want money.
I think we're seeing and we spoke about it when we met up last week, didn't we, Aaron? Like, we're seeing it. All of them have been out long enough now. As in, Xero's been around 15 years or something. QuickBooks has been here forever. Sage has been. I think we're seeing a settling of where they're sitting in the marketplace now. And I think Xero have gone, right, this is what we're really good at. That's what we're going to be good at. QuickBooks have gone, actually, yes, we could have the small end, but actually, we've got advanced, which is more like what QuickBooks Desktop had, and we're working on other stuff. There's our marketplaces.
Yeah.
So then we're going to have there's almost and I know we're ignoring loads of others, but we'd almost end up with Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, because I think they're moving more into that mid-market as well.
Yeah.
I think Xero's problem is they've settled on a market that actually there's much cheaper or freer alternatives. So
there is, but it's established itself. And you go and talk to someone and say, the guy down the pub is going to go, oh, my mate uses Xero. All right, okay, cool. It's easy to use. I'm going to use Xero. And that's always good. They've got that weight behind. Like everyone used to just go, oh, why do you use Sage? Oh, my mate uses Sage. Because let's be honest, they were only. They've got that now.
100%.
Yeah, and they're still number one in the UK, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, they're first, Sage are second, and QuickBooks are sort of third, somewhere around there. They've still got, and Sage will always have that brand name. I think Xero have now established that brand name and loyalty base, so people will stay there, unless there's something drastically changes again.
And they'll have the premium features as well, right? Because that's what they've got, that 15-year opportunity to build up on it, right? So they'll be there. Brilliant. Well, sorry, apologies everyone for going over, but thank you, Simon. Thank you for coming along. Simon, you got anything you want to push? Where can people find you? All of that sort of good stuff.
You can find me on LinkedIn. That's my only push. But yeah, otherwise that's it, really.
Fantastic. Johann, anything exciting coming up this weekend or this week, should I say?
So on Wednesday, I'm doing a webinar for Free Agent. We're talking tech stacks, interestingly enough. There'll be a panel of us talking about tech stacks, what we all use and how we use it, and whether we're growing or shrinking our tech stacks and consolidation. So that's at 2:00 on Wednesday. Check out my LinkedIn posts. There's links in there so you can sign up. Completely free webinar there. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm off and I'm in Manchester. So go and see a small band called The Killers. Apparently Aaron likes them. So
yeah, possibly the best band in the world, but hey, who can I say? That might be me being a little bit biased. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming along. I've got a quiet week of just trying to get everything done so I can go and enjoy the killers. So that'll be fun for everyone. Right. Okay, everybody. Thank you again. Thank you for chatting along. Thank you for, I completely missed everybody on Instagram, but thank you for all the people on Instagram that's come along and joined the 15 of you that are on there. So it's good to see. But we will be back this time next week with another exciting episode of Ask the Accountant. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or anything, use the comment section, talk to us, tell us where we've gone right, gone wrong, and we will see you next week. Bye for now.
See you next week.
Really, I should have had this ready. Bye.